Dear Dairy. Dear Dairy. There we go. That's better. As you might guess, very tired right now. And my hair looks fantastic. Mostly that's because it's been rather warm here today. Now, for those of you in Southern California, it was, pushing like close to 110 in some places. I know that like 88, 90 doesn't sound that hot to you. For here in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's getting kind of warm. So, for us, me in particular, it was rather warm today. So I was sweating a bit and wearing my headphones. So that's what does this to my hair. And so enough excuses about that. Suffice to say, my hair is just fabulous right now. So what happened today? Well, actually, went to Marie Callender's this morning for the brunch buffet. And when I got there, I walked in and I got my two things of, very tired. I should start doing this in the morning when I'm awake, but then I don't have a day to talk about. Anyway, Eggs Benedict. Got my two things of Eggs Benedict, and I went for the next terrine, which has the spinach quiche, and it was empty. Empty. Now the problem is, we got there. There were three of us in my group. I was the first one to go to the buffet line. There were four people right in front of us. In fact, I got in before them, but I was waiting for my other two friends, so I told them they could go ahead. And they hadn't gotten to the terrines yet at all. So I was, they were still sitting down at their table and whatnot when I went to the thing. So it had to have been the 7 other people in the thing, 2 of which hadn't gotten anything yet, or they just hadn't gotten quiche. Because believe me, when I saw that thing was empty, and I don't mean like, oh, well, maybe they just didn't put the quiche out yet. No, there were crumbs, the flaky little crumb, corners and edges and hunks of melted cheese. There had been, get away from me, there had been a quiche in there not too long before I got there. And it also was not like it was that late. I mean, we were there like a 9:15, doors open at 9. Within a quarter of an hour, someone had taken the entire freaking quiche. I was ready to stab some bitch. So what I did, kind of by accident, was I grabbed extra sausage links to make up for it, and kind of regretted that later on. That was a lot of grease to push down my digestive tract. We'll just put it that way. So, but then I had my salad and my cottage cheese, and everything was great. And I went over to the little carvery station, and I had a piece of, I guess, roast beef and some ham. So, to make up for the lack of quiche. Then came home and was like, okay, got stuff to take care of. So I went and took care of said stuff. And then I got back down to my computer here, and I was like, okay, I should, because not having had quiche and instead having eaten extra sausage and ham and roast beef, there's a ton of protein just sitting in my stomach. And my stomach was like, excuse me, we need more energy down here to compensate for this. And so just dragged the energy away from my brain. And my brain said, okay, stomach, here's all the energy. We're diverting all of the EPS conduits to you, or whatever. And we're shutting down now. So I laid down to take a nap. But of course, I'm generally kind of tired anyway, because the couch is uncomfortable. So yeah, I woke up from my nap and came back to my computer, and I know I did something. I just can't. I watched some Geek Domo stuff, watched one of his latest videos, and I was, chatting with a couple of folks on Twitter, and I cannot remember much of what else. Oh, wait. The guys from Rift Off the Record, they were doing a live stream and talking about stuff there, so I was watching part of that. That was kind of later on in the afternoon. I'm not quite sure what I did in the middle of the day. It's kind of this gray, hazy area that I don't really remember too clearly. I updated a lot of games that I don't play anymore, like Rift, for example. Haven't really played that thing in almost 2 years, so had a lot of updating to do on that. EverQuest. Basically, I just went across all the game icons on my desktop and just started each of them up and let them update to the latest version of the game, and then shut them off again. But I haven't really played anything. So let's see, what else did I do? The rest of the day seems a blur until you get to the point where Chad was he's one of the guys from Evercast, and he was doing a live stream of him playing Game Dev Tycoon for the first time. Now, having watched Jesse Cox play Game Dev Tycoon a lot and watched him fail and fail, and then he hit this point of realization where it all suddenly became very clear to him, and he figured out kind of how to, as I was saying, he learned how to kind of game the system or game the game. He figured out, okay, this is how I make this work. And so he was able to make some really, really great games that were really, really popular. And he managed to do really, really well. For the most part. He had a couple of just stinkers that were just horrible. This is Jesse, not Chad. Chad he started out really strong, doing great. And if you're watching this, Chad, you know what I'm talking about. And then suddenly it's like the game said, okay, that's far enough. Now kick his ass. And it just started to eat him alive. It just started to tear his face off. It's like, okay, this game will work. And it doesn't. For whatever reason, it doesn't. Or, well, okay, fine, we'll do it this way. And nothing. And he just keeps sinking further and further into the hole. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. As I've told Chad, I told you, that's the way the game is. It's designed to do that until you learn how to dig into it just right. So, you did just as badly as everybody else does at first. You will figure it out. And then you won't kick its ass. I don't think that's possible. But you will eventually do very well. You just got to stick with it and try desperately not to go batshit insane, which is going to take a lot of work. Or a lot more beer than you had tonight. So, we had half the quiche. Talked about that. Talked about Chad playing Game Dev Tycoon. And if you don't have it, if you haven't played it, and you feel like torturing yourself and driving yourself absolutely insane, definitely pick it up. But you might want to consider reading up on it a bit. You know, some gameplay guides on it, and take them with a grain of salt, because not all of them work. And it's just messed up. It is a cruel, cruel game. Not much else on my mind really right now. Tomorrow morning, Monday, first day that I don't have to go to work on a weekday in just about a year. Well, not the first day. I have had days off, or sick days or whatnot, but this is the first day that my reason for not going into work on a Monday is because I don't have a job. Ooh. So yeah, it's definitely time to start digging into the voice acting thing and trying to push that as far and as hard as I can. And I gotta really start memorizing. Okay, this story right here, called The Infiltrate. You can see that. It's currently, I can't remember the name of the website that it's up on right now. but there's a sci-fi website that currently holds the rights to that story, which is the reason why I haven't recorded the narration for it yet, because the guys at Starship Sofa don't need it yet. They don't need it until, like, March or something. So that's why they're like, you're sometime in the next year. I'm like, what? My God. So I know pretty much half of the, I mean, I could, I don't memorize the story, but I know it well enough that I don't have to scan every single word. I know pretty well what the next paragraph is about, and so it's easier for me to read on the fly. First time I do a cold reading, I'm terrible at it. I really need to work on that. I need to read a lot more. I need to read out loud a lot more. That's the hard part for me. But it's going to be crucial to voice acting and whatnot. Very, very important. So yeah, tomorrow, the start of a new leg of my life, I guess. What were some of the other things? There was something else. I was watching Jesse play a game. I think it was from a couple of days ago. It was Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. If you have not checked that game out, do so. Watching his YouTube video where he was playing it was really, really just fascinating gameplay mechanic. Looks like it's very, very challenging. So definitely check that one out. That's good stuff. And Game Dev Tycoon, if you can pick that up, go ahead and do it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Nothing else really comes to mind. Blah, blah. That's what I have to say about that. Bark, bark, or something. So yeah, I'm gonna. Ooh, I'm glad I just barely caught the edge of this Post-it note sticking out underneath my iPad. So the other night, Friday night, we went and did this farewell dinner for me at in Mountain View at the Tide House. And when Troy got there, he had this Post-it note with him, and he hands it to me. And he said, here, and he handed it to me, and it says, Jared asked me to convey a message to you. I was like, oh, God, no, what the hell? Now, you have to understand, it's not that I'm dyslexic, okay, because I'm not. It's just I have a very twisted, perverted brain. And, I mean, you try growing up on 70s porn and not winding up just a little off. So it says, thanks for all the humor and the help. You helped me a lot with getting more acclimated to the scrum. That's what it says. Now, what I read was, thank you for all the not humor. I didn't see the word humor. I saw the word Hummer. So it said, to me, it looked like it said, thanks for all the Hummers. And I was like, what? What? That makes no kind of sense. That is not what he said. Not even close. But it was damned funny within the moment, because Troy was like, my writing's not that bad. I'm like, dude, so not you. It is not your writing at all. It's all in here. It's just, No. So, 14 minutes we just passed, blathering about nothing. Half fucking quiche. My quiche. That's it. That's what does this to my hair, when I don't get my damn quiche on Sundays. So, I'm going to let you guys go, release you from the suffering that is listening to me bitch about quiche. And I'm going to go and probably go to bed pretty soon, because it's 11:04 as of the point that I'm recording this. So I will talk to you folks tomorrow. Be careless.